You've probably seen this before, right? If you've ever sat through a workplace safety meeting, this image, the famous safety triangle, has almost certainly made an appearance. I mean, for nearly 100 years, it's been the foundation for how we think about preventing accidents. But the big question is, does this classic idea still hold up in 2026? Well, let's dig in.
And that brings us to the central puzzle we're tackling today. This triangle is literally everywhere in safety. It's taught in classrooms, it's on posters and break rooms all over the world. So, why are so many modern experts, researchers, and safety pros telling us, hey, don't trust the numbers? What's going on with that famous 1:29:300 ratio? That's exactly what we're going to unpack.
Okay, so let's just get right to the punchline right up front. Here's the big takeaway for 2026. Heinrich's triangle is not dead. It survives, but as a philosophy for prevention, not as some kind of universal equation you can just plug and play. Its role has totally changed. So before we can get into the whole modern debate, we have to go back to the beginning. Let's break down exactly what this thing is. What did Herbert Heinrich actually propose all those years ago in the 1930s? All right, it all starts at the very bottom of the pyramid, the foundation. Heinrich's research suggested that for a given set of, say, 330 similar incidents, a whopping 300 of them result in absolutely no injury. Nothing. These are what we call the near misses or the close calls. You know, the moments that make your heart skip a beat, a slip on a wet floor where you catch your balance, or a heavy tool that drops from a scaffold but luckily lands on empty ground.
Okay, so now let's move one level up. Out of that same group of 330 events, Heinrich said 29 of them will lead to minor injuries. We're talking about things like small cuts, scrapes, bruises, that kind of thing you treat with a first aid kit. It's an actual incident for sure, but probably not something that's going to cause you to miss any serious work.
And then, finally, we get to the very top, the peak of the pyramid. Out of all 330 of those related incidents, just one single event results in a major serious injury. This is the bad stuff, the kind of incident that leads to hospitalization, significant time off the job, or, tragically, even a fatality. So you put all those numbers together, and there it is, Heinrich's law, the famous 1:29:300 ratio. It's such a simple but powerful idea, right? It visually tells you that the huge disasters we see are really just the tip of the iceberg, floating on a massive hidden base of smaller problems. So, you gotta ask, why did this thing stick around for so long? Why did it become so influential? Well, it turns out it's not really about the specific numbers. It's about the story it told. See, the genius of this theory was its simplicity. It told a really clear, intuitive story. Big, catastrophic accidents don't just happen randomly. They're signaled by a whole bunch of smaller warnings first. This was all part of his broader domino model of how accidents happen. You know, one thing knocks over the next, which knocks over the next. And that made the solution seem so clear and actionable. If you can just pull one of those early dominoes out of the line, if you can address the near misses and the minor stuff, you can stop the whole chain reaction and prevent that last big domino from ever falling. But here's the thing. Simple and actionable is great, but does it actually hold up under the microscope of modern science? So let's fast forward to today and dive into the scientific debate. How does Heinrich's triangle actually stack up against decades of new data and better analysis? Well, it turns out the picture is a lot more complicated. On one hand, you've got research, like a 2018 risk analysis, that basically says the triangle's existence is quite complex. Its shape can totally change just based on how you decide to define what counts as minor versus serious. But then, on the other hand, a different NIOSH Max study in the mining industry found that, yes, lower severity incidents can actually help predict later fatalities. But, and this is a huge but, that link comes with, and I'm quoting here, significant nuances and caveats. So, that clean, simple ratio, it just doesn't hold up consistently. So here's the most important point about the modern science. This is not a myth-busted situation. It's not that the whole idea is wrong. It's more like partly validated but heavily qualified. And honestly, that heavily qualified part is everything. It tells us the relationship between small and big incidents is probably real, but it is definitely not a fixed universal law of nature. Which of course leads to a very practical question. If the science is this messy and nuanced, how does a big agency like OSHA actually use this kind of thinking in the real world? What does it mean for modern safety practices? Okay, this is a really important one because there's a huge misconception out there. A lot of people think OSHA requires companies to report every single near miss. That's actually not true. The general federal rule is for reporting the big stuff: fatalities, hospitalizations, amputations. But, and this is key, OSHA strongly encourages employers to investigate their own near misses internally. They want you to learn from them. The one major exception is for really high-hazard workplaces under what's called process safety management. There, yeah, you are required to investigate incidents that could have led to a catastrophic chemical release. So what this tells us is that OSHA absolutely values the logic of the triangle, learning from the small stuff, even if they don't mandate reporting every little thing.
And this gets to one of the biggest shifts in safety thinking. If you think about the classic, old-school interpretation of Heinrich's dominoes, it often ended in one place: blame. You stop the dominoes by pointing to the worker and saying, they were careless. That was the root cause, and that's where the investigation stopped.
But modern safety science and OSHA's own guidance today says that is a huge mistake. The modern approach is to find the root causes and fix the system. Instead of stopping at human error, you have to ask why that error happened. Was the equipment designed poorly? Was the training insufficient? Were the procedures confusing? The entire focus has shifted from blaming a person to improving the system they work in. And look, in today's world with complex technology and interconnected processes, just blaming carelessness almost always misses the real story.
All right, let's pull all these threads together. What does this all mean for the safety triangle here in 2026? What's its real job in the modern safety toolkit?
Here it is, the single most important thing to remember. Heinrich still matters. He absolutely does, but he matters as a mindset for proactive learning, not as some fixed ratio you can just slap onto any workplace. It's a philosophy that pushes us to be curious about those small failures, to see near misses as free lessons in what could go wrong, and to learn from them before something terrible happens. It's always been about the principle, not the specific numbers.
So at the end of the day, the real legacy of the safety triangle has nothing to do with the numbers 1, 2, 9, or 300. It's about this powerful, enduring idea. If you want to stop the big disasters, you have to sweat the small stuff. You have to pay attention to the little warnings. It's a call to action. Use the pyramid to learn early, not to pretend that safety is just some fixed, predictable ratio.
If you want to learn more about workplace safety and OSHA rules, subscribe to HSE Study.